we're sitting here with Opiuo. Welcome to the 14th Island Vibe Festival. It's not your first, though, as we just discovered.
Yeah.
What's it like to be back on the island?
It's amazing. I wish I was staying the whole time.
Yeah, but unfortunately you're off tomorrow. Fortunately for us, you actually made it here, though.
Totally.
You're on the brink of your US tour and then back to Australia. But just before we go to US, I wanted to know, when you got on the ferry, I know that you never stopped making music. Most of us stop on the ferry and do nothing. What were you doing on the ferry? Were you making something?
Right before I got on the ferry, I was working on my set, and then on the ferry, I was holding my baby.
Yeah. And I was also
cool.
interested to know whether you've actually created any Opiuo lullabies since your baby's been born.
Well, in the first week that she was born, it was this weird, like, completely no sleep reality. And so any chance I got that I was awake and stuff wasn't really happening, I was in the studio. And I did a remix in the first, week. And in some way, it's got her in it, I reckon. Yeah, the vibe.
Yep. In what kind of way?
I don't know, just the crazy energy that exists at that time, you know. It's quite psychedelic.
Is she a bit of a drum and bass baby?
I don't know yet. She comes in the studio every now and then and sits there and just, looks around. And I think the bass for kids is something, very womb-like.
Yep. And it's a really family-oriented festival here, and you have your baby here. It's beautiful. It's also very environmentally friendly, this festival. It's won awards for being so green. Do you get to play at many festivals? I mean, you're all around the world, but many festivals that really take that into consideration?
Luckily, yes. Yeah, I mean, more so than not, I'd say. This, just walking past the big clean-up area for the plates and all that kind of thing, was awesome. It's really cool to see. But yeah, a lot of festivals I play really have a good drive towards that, which is, I mean, I don't know if it's new or not, but it's amazing. It's really what needs to happen. There's so many people here with a lot of waste. So yeah, I do, fortunately.
And that's through choice as well? Is that part of what you decide?
I guess the people that like what I do is somehow associated with that too. That's part of it. I don't really get to choose all of the time where I go. It's normally just people who want me to play and which part of the world, and so maybe the conscious crew do like it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I had a little walk around before I came into here and talking to a few people saying, I get to interview Opiuo. Is there anything that you want to ask? And they're like, no, we just want to say thank you. Just tell them thank you for the beats. And that's a lot of what you say to them, though, isn't it? To your fan base out there and the people that listen to the noise that you make, as you say.
Yeah.
But it's, I think you kind of, in some way, feel like it's all still so new.
Yeah, I mean, I just got shivers. Thanks. For me, it's I just do what I do, and I close my door and make music, and it still spins me out that people around the world like it, and it gives you more faith in what you're doing and more confidence and trust, because that's the main thing that's really hard to find, to finish music and to trust in what you're doing. And as that grows, because people follow you and like what you do, it's I still can't believe I do what I do, really.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place to be. Yeah. It's not only music that you make, though. You also design all the visuals as well, don't you?
I have been, yeah. I've just learned how to do a bunch of now in the full show, it's all the drum machines and keys and all the different things I'm doing are triggering different parts of visual content and lighting, and we're building towards lasers and everything, so it can be whatever I'm doing on the fly, completely the whole show follows it. Which is cool, because then there's a really full interaction. It's not just trying to see what someone's doing on stage behind a laptop or whatever. When I hit something, this whole thing happens. Yeah.
Because I also read just today that when you're making a track, you know that it's finished when you sit back and close your eyes, and then you see the visuals coming. Hey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've done that for a long time. When I was in Melbourne, I had this really small, tiny shack out the back of a house. And the best listening spot was right at the back of the room, but I couldn't write there. So I'd write as much as I could, then I'd sit there and I'd get the full experience. And it was literally these shapes and things would just start appearing, which was, at the time, I was like, cool, that's how it works, but hadn't really heard that happen to other people, so maybe it's strange.
Yeah, well, it's all connected. It's creativity, hey?
Yeah.
And what's coming out tonight on the Island Vibe stage?
Oh, well, I'm playing some music I've never played to anyone before. Yeah, on the way here, I wasn't sure. I was like, do I need to cater it to be more of the roots tip or whatever? But then, I don't know, I think I'm known for something and I'm just going to do that.
It's the Opiuo roots, hey?
Yeah, totally. I mean, for me, growing up in New Zealand, I grew up in a lot of dub bass heavy music. And so that kind of bouncy, funky element's still there for sure. And it's cool to test music on different crowds around the world. And places like this, I feel people are really open to listening to something. They're not too stuck in a scene or something. They just want to dance. They want to have a good time. And so, yeah, it's some of the funnest places to play for sure.
Yeah, and just be taken on a journey.
Yeah.
You've also got something pretty exciting coming out, and I know I'm equally as excited because it's on wax and on vinyl, some of it, but your new album, tell us a little bit about that, number 2.
Yeah, so I started an EP series called Syzygy, and this became a longer EP. You know, it's basically an album. I don't know really what to call it because a lot of the time it's just you write a bunch of things and then they come together and become something. And to me, it's literally some of the funnest dance floor moments of the last year put into a package, basically. And yeah, kind of, it's weird when you release music. It's like you work so hard and long on something, and then when it's kind of gone out of your reach and it's someone else's, suddenly when they listen to it, it just disappears, and there's this complete like thing, and it's such a, it still trips me out every time. So before something comes out, it's this hover space, and then it's yours, and then it's kind of like it turns into its own thing, whereas the whole time it's just been mine. And it's right now it's a really interesting phase. It always happens, you know, which is equally exciting and nerve-wracking. But if you don't get nervous, you're not trying hard enough. So it's something to that.
And also like just testing yourself beyond your boundaries as well. Is that what's happening with this album?
Yeah, I guess so.
Or does that just happen with every piece of music that you make?
Yeah, I don't want to make the same thing twice, and I guess it's always going to have my element of me in it, which is something I just want to always have there. But yeah, I definitely think it is going in different directions, and it always will in its own way. Yeah.
Hopefully that's the beauty of music, hey, and creation.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of feeling, back to people just saying thank you and stuff. It's the beauty of having the freedom to do that, because a lot of the time people do something, they get locked into this thing that they're expected to do. And that often is the end of their creativity, you know? So I feel as creative today as I did at the start, with a little bit more pressure on myself more than anything, which is awesome and healthy. But yeah, just for people to enjoy what I do purely because of that, then I'm really thankful. Yeah.
And when you're up on stage, you said that you were planning your set. Do you ever get up there and then just totally change what you were going to do and go in the moment and make something else?
More so I can in these shows. It depends. Like, I've done shows, you know, full orchestra shows and band shows, and they're really hard to adapt as you go because you've planned it out. But yeah, no, I can. And there's definitely sections where I'm like, I have options and I can go in different directions and extend things and really feel the crowd. So the more interaction I get from the crowd, the more it kind of gives me a direction of where I want to go.
And you get a lot of interaction.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. We love it too. Yeah,
it's awesome.
Havana Meets Kingston are also playing here at Island Vibe, and you've done a remix of their Carnival track, hey?
I did, yep. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
What have you done? I mean, an Opiuo remix, I don't know, what do you expect from that? You just know it's going to be dirty and fat and bassy and carnival-y still?
Yeah, I mean, I purposely don't listen to too much of a song if I get asked to remix it. I try and listen to, even though I've listened to the whole song, I try and just pick into a couple of elements, and I try and just use those because I really want it to be a remix, like a full rework of what it is. It's got elements that take you to that place, but then it's this whole other thing. And with that one, it was just, there was a few elements in there that were just unreal, you know, the recordings, and I actually ended up doing the remix, then listening to all of the samples because I didn't want to listen to too many when I was making it to make it too much like the original. And when I listen to the rest of it, it's magic, you know. You can really feel the room, you can hear everyone else in it, you know, it's really cool. So it was a lot of fun.
You're not going to be around long enough to see Havana Meets Kingston, hey?
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah.
No, I'm flying to New Orleans on tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so it's a massive tour that you're about to embark on. And I noticed that there's a lot of theatres. It's not just big stadiums and things. Yeah. It's really interesting venues. Yeah,
I mean, in America, there's a lot of theatres that are actually quite big rooms. So I'm going on the road with Grammatic. And some of them are just like, I don't know, it's the grand venue of that city, you know. And it's so cool to see electronic music in a place where there's so much history. You know, I've played rooms that the Webster Hall. I'll never forget about it when we first went in there and we got taken down to this tunnel under the ground, and it was where the Al Capone used to smuggle the booze into the venue from the city hall to have these crazy, when Prohibition existed in America. And just these crazy histories of things like that, and you're playing in this venue that's now got electronic music going, and it used to be the ballroom and whatever. Yeah,
people just going off to it.
It's really cool.
Yep, some things never change, hey?
Yeah.
And then you're coming back through to Australia, is it towards the end of the year?
Yeah, I get back at the end of November, and then it's summer here. Festivals in Australia and New Zealand till probably, I think, the end of February, which is my favourite time of year.
Do you ever get any time off, or do you decide to take some time off?
I just did. Had 11 weeks off with the baby and did that, but I don't really like stopping for too long. I love what I do, and I've figured out how to do it without being unhealthy. So, enjoying it to a certain extent, and then being able to be to maintain, which is really important. So,
has it always been that way?
No, I've nearly burnt out for sure. Like you dabble and you go as hard as you can because it's there, and then you figure out you're not going to be able to do it if you do that, and it's also just mainly the constant socializing, not even partying. It's just talking to people and being really energetic and being on planes and then getting off and someone's there ready to have a great conversation with you, and you've got to do your best, and so sometimes you just want to be in a room by yourself. And so more often than not, I try to do it as healthy as I can and get that rest. And then the time off thing is hard because I just want to make music when I'm off the road, so there is no real time off. Even this 11 weeks, I probably spent a lot of it making music. It's what I do. I love it.
Yeah. Thank goodness we're lucky. We're lucky for that. And speaking of being healthy, you were just saying here at Island Vibe Festival, you just had an amazing meal. And, we're going back to this festival being so environmental, is that you get to wash up your own bowl and you see all that kind of thing. Yeah, it's make you feel good just being kind of a part of that kind of grassrootsy connection to food.
Yeah, this is just arriving here today it's not often I feel comfortable going to parties and not playing. I feel the expectation of playing, but I could imagine just coming here and just bring the family and enjoying it, because it's, there's so many friends and just awesome people out there that I'd love to, Yep.
So you've met a lot of friends, because what was it like when you first left New Zealand and sort of came to Australia? When was that, and what actually made you come to Australia in the first place?
I'd lived in all the major cities, except for Christchurch in New Zealand, and just...
Blew them apart?
No, I wasn't really doing music then. And music for me was always just a hobby. Like, I was going to do design as my job, and I just never put the pressure on myself for it to be too much. And I just went to Australia, had some friends living in Melbourne, and thought I'd try. Came for 6 months, left for 6 months, and then was like, what am I doing? I just came straight back. Never thought I'd leave Melbourne. Met my girlfriend, moved to Byron Bay area, and I think that took me back to where I grew up. I grew up in the country in New Zealand, so it's a good circle.
Tell us a bit about the band that you sometimes play with as well, because you're here by yourself tonight, but there's the Opiuo band.
There was the Opiuo band.
There was.
Yeah. We did it for 3 years. It was amazing, and we went out on a high at Red Rocks. Love the guys. We were still really good friends. But yeah, for me, it's a thing about always moving and always bringing it back to the core, which is me, because it is about, to me, it's all about having a really good party and a good dance and a good that version, and then expanding it to different ways to take that on. But I always want to be able to bring it back to that, because for me right now, I've written a lot of new music, and that's what it's about for me at the moment, is just being able to take that kind of thing. The band takes months of rehearsals. It's like this whole thing, and like you're saying before, the ability to change it on the fly is much less, Yeah.
What are you doing, Opiuo? No, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, such exciting stuff. So you're playing tonight. You're just ever changing as well. I mean, where do you think you're just born with that? Where if you're in music, you don't just sit on the same beats all the time. Where do you get your inspiration from? So many people must get inspiration from you. Is it through collaborations, like traveling with Grammatic, or like, moving with other people?
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know. It's day to day. I'll go into the studio, and some days it doesn't work, and I get really pissed off, and I
that's
have
good
to
to
go
hear.
do something else. Yeah, and I'm better at pulling myself out of that before I get annoyed. It doesn't happen all the time. I sometimes spend weeks mixing something that should just take no time, and it doesn't work, you know. And other times it's just there. I get a lot of inspiration from places like this and from meeting people, you know, and having these chats, and you know. And it's also good to remind yourself of what you're doing, because you forget. You're just in it, and there's no less appreciation, but you're doing it all the time, so you do forget what you're doing. So then talking about it again is awesome. And yeah, watching other music, listening to other music, just hearing a download, seeing something, you know.
And do you sometimes go in and start, I know I've sort of read somewhere that you were planning to make kind of a bit of a mellow track and it just end up being a banging, and is that kind of just where it ends up going?
Yeah, I mean, when I was really young, I had this thing where I'd have songs in my head and I'd go to sleep and I'd make them build up and drop in my head, and that was what would put me to sleep when I was a teenager. And I still kind of have that. I have an idea and it kind of will head that direction. Doesn't know where it's going to go, but I'll have a full song in my head for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know you spent a bit of time in London, and you said that's where your record collection started, or you started going record shopping. Do you have, is it still a big part of your life, records? Because for me, vinyl is...
I wish it was. I wish it was. I moved around a lot and I lost a lot of, you know, what I didn't lose it, but it's just in places, and I've still got it somewhere. My uncle's, or, you know, somewhere at home, my parents' place, you know. So yeah, it's kind of, I wish it was. I love it. I'm kind of collecting again, but it's quite a solid thing to travel home with it. Yeah, I'd love to.
Yep, but beautiful, because your latest album, which I've ordered already on vinyl.
Thank you.
I'm waiting to come through. Do you press many? There's always limited editions.
This one, I can't actually remember the number, but it's not a lot. No, and it's funny because I've got some. It's unfortunate. Some of them are online for hundreds and hundreds of dollars because people can't get copies of them. I feel really bad because I don't know, you know. I don't, but I also don't want it to be just this never-ending thing. I want these things to be special, because that's the only way you can make music in that way special, because it's digital, it's on everything now, you know. So I kind of like the idea that it's, you know, you have one of them, and you just get in, and if the demand increases as it goes, maybe I'll make more each time, but they'll still be limited edition. You know, because I think it's important to put some sort of nice little thing on music.
Oh yeah, it's a really nice thing. And the artwork on the album, that's beautiful. That's your designs?
No, it's a dude, his name's Brad Beastman is his artist name. He's an Australian guy, and I've loved his art for years. I've got plenty of it at home, and I just hit him up one day and asked if he wanted to do it, and some back and forwards and some ideas back and forwards, and he, you know, came on board, and yeah, he's a legend. Yeah.
Well, we're probably about to wrap up because you've got to prepare for tonight. What are you taking on stage? You got the whole full setup? Yeah.
No, it's a live setup with drum machines and synths and things like that. Yeah.
We're looking forward to it. I know that's a joint, that's how we're feeling about it. Excited. Yeah. And thanks so much. I know that you're just talking about getting off a plane and having to go straight into a conversation, but I hope this has been like...
No, this is cool. I love it here. Yeah, the vibe here is good.
Yeah, and we love having you here. So, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you.